Okay, I've done a few videos about boot camp, what to expect and everything. After boot camp, you might be surprised. You don't get to go home and see your parents. They can come see you for graduation. But then you go to school, and after your school, then you can go and be on leave and for up to 2 weeks, I think. And then you go to your duty station. Now, if your school is on during, like I went to school and it was Christmas, so they let everybody go that wanted to go for a week, and I didn't opt for that. And then when I went home, I only went home for a week. I think that was good, because after a week of doing nothing, after doing so much in such short periods of time, you get really bored, and then you're really anxious about your duty station, what it's going to be like, and the people, and your division, and everything else. So if I were to give you advice, anybody advice, I'd say just take a week, because 2 weeks is a long time. But then again, if you take 2 weeks, you can always come back early. That's totally fine. You just need to change your airplane date, the date to get on the plane, or if you live close, which hardly ever happens. Now, when you first get to your boat, you're usually there on the weekend. I don't know why it always works out that way, but it does. And everybody is like in a crappy mood because they happen to be on duty on the weekend. So when you first get to your duty station, it kind of sucks, because you think, wow, this is awful. People are telling you, you know, welcome to this crap hole and all this other stuff. And when I got to my duty station, we were about to deploy, and it was only a week out, and everybody was really mad that they were deploying. Well, mad is maybe a bad word, but irritated, anxious. They about half of the people at my duty station had kids, or a husband or a wife, and they didn't want to leave them, even though that's, you know, when you sign up for the service, it's kind of what you get. And sometimes you just don't know. When I was in for my first deployment, it was right after 9/11, and so we didn't know if we were going to be out there 6 months or 18 months, or we just had no idea. We had no idea what was going on. We hadn't totally declared war yet, and so yeah, it was a little crazy. We didn't know what to think. So that's my experience. But when you get there, it's not always great. And if you're about to go on deployment, people are even a little worse. But I think once you start the deployment, or once you've been there for a while, and you start picking up on who to avoid, who to trust, you know, and everything, it gets better. So that's what happens after boot camp. And another thing is, while you're in school, there's still a lot of rules. It's like boot camp, a little more relaxed. Most of the time, you still can't smoke. You're not allowed to drink. You're not allowed to talk to reporters if you're in uniform, that sort of thing. Lots of rules. You got to pay attention, because you can really get in a lot of trouble, and you don't want to get kicked out before you even start. And usually when you get kicked out when you're in school, it takes a lot to process you out. So you're stuck in this place you really don't want to be for a couple more months. Whereas if you get kicked out when you're on your duty station, you're gone in a couple days. So that's something to think about. Okay, thank you for watching. Please subscribe.